Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Harnetty Rail Journeys. I'm Richard Harnetty, your host. You join me in an early morning Lee Green Station here on the Liverpool and Manchester Railway. Now today we're heading back to Staffordshire today, as we are going to be getting the Princess Coronation class Locomotive Trust's 6233 Duchess of Sutherland, as she's working the railway touring company's the Cheshireman from London Euston to Chester via the West Coast Main Line. This is her old stomping ground, and we rarely get a chance to see the Duchess now, since mostly she's down south working trains in and out of London. Anyway, we're just waiting for the 5:58 Northern service that will get us down to Liverpool, and then hopefully will be the 6:44 Avanti West Coast service that will get us to Crewe, and then we've got about an hour layover for the 8:30 London North Western service to Euston, which will get us to Rugeley Trent Valley, which is where we'll be getting the Duchess first. And then basically it's make it up as you go along, stuff like that. Anyway, we're just waiting for the 5:58 Northern service to get us to Liverpool, and then we're on our way.
We arrived to Rugeley in good time, as we see the Duchess coming round the curve on the slow line as she heads north to Crewe.
Hang on, she's coming.
So just shout.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, you're fine, mate, you're fine. Okay.
We're now here at Rugeley Trent Valley after a cracker of a shot, the Duchess coming through here on the slow line. Surprisingly, no diesel assisting on the back. But despite the diesels on the rear, probably to help out with the shunting manoeuvre at Chester, and also for insurance purposes in case the Duchess failed. But surprised though, the diesel wasn't even assisting on this one. 12 coaches and the Duchess working, though probably coasting on the slow line with so much amount of exhaust. But it was a cracker. Anyway, we're just waiting for the 11:24 London North Western service that will get us from here to Crewe, and then we're going to change for the Transport for Wales service to get us up to Chester, which hopefully, we've only got a 10-minute connection to Crewe. Now we know the Duchess is going to be in for an hour to take on water, but we're not going to be filming her out of the station because I know it's going to be heaving, because it's the DRS Open Day at Crewe Gresty Bridge, their first major open day at their depot for a good few years, obviously because of lockdown. So we did have, however, this is never before seen footage before, the Duchess on the engine and coach move from Tyseley, which is a vintage trains, up to Hellifield, where they did a run over the Settle Carlisle. So we're going to show you some never before seen footage of the Duchess in action on the engine and coach move, as we see her at Crewe and then going through Hartford on the same day. So let's have a look at it, shall we?
33 London North Western Railway service to London Euston, corridor to Stafford, Rugeley Trent Valley, Lichfield Trent Valley, Tamworth, Ascot, Nuneaton, Rugby.
This engine and coach move from Tyseley to Hellifield via the West Coast Main Line was the day before her vintage trains run over the Settle Carlisle. During her layover at Crewe as she fills up with water, we have a good close-up look round the engine at close quarters, before she resumed her journey down the West Coast Main Line as far as Farrington Junction, where she joined the line to Blackburn and then onwards to Hellifield via Clitheroe.
Ticket checks are in operation at this station. Please have your ticket available for inspection.
Yeah, that was to compensate really, because I was originally intending on seeing her over the Settle Carlisle on the Saturday, but unfortunately Network Rail timings issues, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So a little bit disappointing, but you can't win them all. Anyway, as I said earlier, we're waiting for the 11:24 London North Western rail service, still get us up to Crewe, and then there's onwards to Chester. And while we're on our way up there, let's review the Duchess's history then, shall we?
Duchess of Sutherland was outshot from Crewe Works in July 1938 to the design of the chief mechanical engineer Sir William Stanier. She was part of a batch of locomotives at the Coronations that was not streamlined when outshot from Crewe Works in 1938. She was originally outshot with a single chimney and no smoke deflectors, but she was given her double chimney in 1941 before the smoke deflectors were fitted in September of 1945. There was an interesting story that during World War II, while descending down Shap, her driver at the time, Percy Wilson, claimed that she reached 110 miles an hour with a 600-ton train as they descended down Shap's summit to T-Bay. When the war ended, she resumed her working career for the LMS, right into nationalisation for British Railways, working on the West Coast Main Line, while being shedded at the time at Camden, Edge Hill and Carlisle Upperby Shed, before being eventually withdrawn from service by British Rail at Edge Hill Shed in Liverpool in February of 1964. After being withdrawn from British Railways in February of 1964, she was saved for preservation by Sir Billy Butlin, and after being cosmetically restored, she moved to Scotland to be on display at Sir Billy Butlin's holiday camp in Ayr, and she arrived in October of 1964, 8 months after being withdrawn. She was on display at the holiday camp until 1971, when she was purchased by the Bressingham Steam Museum, and she moved to the museum later that year. She briefly returned to steam at the Bressingham Steam Museum, offering footplate rides on their demonstration line, before eventually being withdrawn due to firebox problems. In 1996, she was bought by the Princess Royal Class Locomotive Trust, the same organisation who owned 46203 Princess Margaret Rose, a Princess Royal class, and she arrived at the Midland Railway Centre in 1996. It took 3 years to restore Duchess of Sutherland back to full mainline working order between 1998 and 2001, including in the restoration the fitting of air brakes so she would be more compatible to work with air brake fitted stock, along with the safety equipment fitted to enable her to return to the main line for the first time since 1964. Since returning to the main line in 2001, Duchess of Sutherland has had a very achievable and a magnificent mainline preservation career, including in 2002 was the highlight of her career, hauling the Royal Train from Holyhead to Llandudno Junction during Queen Elizabeth II's Golden Jubilee year, and 3 years later hauling the Royal Train again over the Settle Carlisle in 2005. She had a very different variety of liveries during her preservation career, first being LMS Crimson in 2001, right up until 2010, when she was repainted into LMS Wartime Black, a livery she had not been seen on the main line since 1946, and in 2012 to 2017 in BR Express Passenger Lined Green livery. Since her return to service in 2018, she had reacquired her pre-nationalisation number 6233 and LMS Crimson livery, as we see her now in these photographs. In 2016, she broke new ground for the class by venturing into Cornwall for the first time, while she worked the Royal Duchy from Taunton to Par in return. Since her return to service in 2001, as I mentioned earlier, she's now the only member of her class out of the 3 that have been preserved still operating in the world, while 6229 Duchess of Hamilton now being restored into a streamlined condition at the National Railway Museum, while 46235 City of Birmingham is on display in the city's museum. Now, enough of me talking about 6233 as we rejoin her as we see her arriving into Chester.
Right, we're now here at Stafford as we are waiting for the arrival of the Duchess, which she is now currently en route from Chester, going all the way back down to London Euston. Although it will be diesel assisted. Unfortunately, a bit of cinder from a ashpan has just set a small line side fire on the line between Crewe and Chester. So that's why we were very slow on the way on the Voyager from Chester to Crewe. But fortunately, she is on her way. We're just waiting now until she comes through at 18:35, and then we're on our way home. So, anyway, just wait for the Duchess now.
I leave you with 6233 as she speeds through on the fast line at Stafford. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you'll be right up to date when the next video goes live. Stay safe everyone and take care, and until next time, goodbye.